was a useless waste of time, which he had so much dedicated himself to that after, can you imagine going to university and going through everything you got to do to pass all these exams? And this is a British university, Scottish Church's College. You know, he passes the final exam, and he can come to take part in the graduation ceremony and receive the diploma. And he believes in this cause of Indian independence so much that he refuses to take his degree, which is a great threat to his economic security. He's got a family, a new family. He's got his widowed father to support, his sister. So much responsibility. But he's such a principled person, Srila Prabhupada, at this stage of his life. Well, throughout his life, but here, before meeting his spiritual master even. So a pure devotee is a pure devotee in all circumstances. That he refuses to come. And in one sentence, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta defeats Srila Prabhupada's logic. And why was Narendranath Malik dragging Prabhupada to meet Srila Bhaktisiddhanta? Because he was the undisputed leader. Prabhupada even said, my order has always been obeyed throughout my entire life. And actually one astrologer looked at Srila Prabhupada's palm and said, oh, your order can never be disobeyed and will never be disobeyed. And said, I was defeated for the first time in my life. But it wasn't a loss. It was an immense gain. I liked being defeated by my spiritual master because he gave me something by far superior. Why just save and liberate India? Liberate every living entity in the entire universe. He had been trained in the Vaishnava family. Lord Chaitanya and Radha and Krishna were his worshipful deities, but the words of this great saintly person brought forth those feelings in unlimited multiplication. And he relished it so very much. You preach in the Western countries. And Prabhupada, at that time, in the 1930s, and even Srila Bhaktisiddhanta recognized, preaching in the West, shooting for the rhinoceros, what was the heart of Western culture? London. And Prabhupada would remark, after World War II, there'd be a cartoon in the newspaper, the British lion in a hospital bed in traction, all of his limbs in a cast, you know. He's been trounced, you know, to defeat Nazi Germany. The British Empire went bankrupt. And the United States, who was reluctantly drawn into the war, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, his being reelected for his third term in 1940, his campaign promised the United States will not enter into the European war. Hitler had already declared war on Poland and annexed Austria and et cetera, declared war on London, and Winston Churchill is begging, please help us, you know. So United States became the world power for the last 75 years or so. So Prabhupada decided to execute the order of my spiritual master. I must go to the United States of America. And within the United States of America, the most important place to go was and is letter to Sudam, December 23rd, 1972. I am very happy to hear, so the Sudam later became Maharaj. She was one of the Vaikuntha players. You can see the little clip in the 1976 New York Ras Yatra that he and Rasagna Mataji, she was German devotee by German origin, and she was an amazing actress. She previously, that was her profession in working in the theater. So they were Kali and his consort Sin, and we have all come to do you all in. So that was Sudam. So he was part of the New York, this is Henry Street at the time. I am very happy to hear from you all the good news about the New York Center. Yes, from the very beginning I went to New York because I thought that Krishna consciousness is the most important idea in the world. So let me go to that place, New York, which is the most important city in the world. And if I am able to do anything for Krishna and my spiritual master, even I am at the fag end of my life. So many of us are getting up in years. So Prabhupada came in 1965. He had just celebrated his 69th birthday. We take devotees on the Upper West Side tour where Prabhupada resided for 2 weeks in the posh penthouse, 14th floor, overlooking the Hudson River, a commanding view of New Jersey and beyond. For Manhattan, the idea of something beyond New Jersey is almost like in the Middle Ages thinking of what's on the other side of the ocean, sea monsters and God knows what. You'll fall off the ocean, off the flat earth into oblivion. Manhattan, and that's it. And when it became inconvenient to maintain Prabhupada in the penthouse, which was so big that Dr. Mishra gave Prabhupada a room all to himself, what was that inconvenience and to whom? The inconvenience to Dr. Mishra was that Prabhupada just had him by the throat for his Mayavad philosophy. And to his embarrassment in front of his so-called disciples or students. So he shifted Prabhupada 2 long avenue blocks east and 3 blocks south at 100 West 72nd Street. This is the beginning of November. Those who are alive and in New York City at the time, like myself, I was only 6 years old, there was a blackout that lasted from Friday afternoon, 4:30, till early the next morning, like a 14-hour blackout. The Prabhupada was, used to such things, being from India, but in New York, a blackout at rush hour, 800,000 people were trapped in the subway. Can you imagine being trapped in a subway car for 14 hours? So it was the coldest winter on record. Prabhupada was put in a windowless room, the yoga studio, on the 5th floor of this building, and had to walk every day to take a decent bath. There's only like a toilet and a sink in this yoga studio, and to cook. In the diary kept, which the BBT made into an elaborate presentation called The Beginning, Prabhupada would say, sometimes I am inconvenienced by night starvation. There was nothing to eat at night. So walking this distance, and then when it would snow, especially the sidewalk at 75th Street, those final 2 blocks, it's very residential, it's like a one-way street. You know how it is that some people shovel their sidewalk right away, others don't, or do it later, or some don't even shovel at all. And at that time, there wasn't regulation to, poop and scoop your doggy poo. Prabhupada noticed that the smell of dog stool was everywhere. So my dreams have all come true. All of you nice boys and girls are getting the credit. Rukmini Mataji, Rukmini Devi Dasi, who was only 16 years old at the time in 1969, when the devotees moved from 26 Second Avenue to 61 Second Avenue, just 2 blocks north on the other side of the street, the west side of 2nd Avenue. It was formerly a tuxedo palace that would, suit up all the big mafia dons here in New York in the 1920s and 30s. And so Brahmananda, they reported to Prabhupada, the new temple is a palace. It's a tuxedo palace. They didn't say that, they just called it a palace. And Rukmini was saying, oh, this is terrible. This is not a palace, it's just a storefront. It's a little nicer and bigger than the first storefront, but it's not a palace. And Prabhupada's going to come. They all told him it's a palace. He's going to be so disappointed. It's going to be terrible. And you can see the black and white movie called, what did they call it? Anyway, it's Prabhupada arriving in LaGuardia Airport, and he's sitting, and there's a United Airlines jet with the word United right behind Prabhupada. And Damodar Prabhu, who had taken the movie, said, I wanted this here because, Prabhupada is uniting everyone, United Airlines, like that. And then the devotees are just dancing like in ecstasy. And then there's footage in the 61 2nd Avenue with all of the mirrors from the vestibules of the tuxedo place, and she's telling the story that Prabhupada's opening remarks, his first address after this wildly exuberant kirtan, was that I prayed to Krishna to send me one moon, but he has sent me so many moon-like boys and girls. So Rukmini could understand that Prabhupada wasn't upset about the palace. So you nice boys and girls are getting the credit. When I was alone in your New York, I was thinking, who will listen to me in this horrible, sinful place? All right, I shall stay a little longer. At least I can distribute a few of my books. That's something. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, the youngest and most junior brahmachari, if he struggled all day and sold 2 or 3 copies of the Gaudiya Math newspaper, Sajjana Toshini, he would say, oh, you were so nice. So the whole effort of coming to New York, being on the Jaladuta, risking his life and his health, and living in such a way, he said, if I could distribute a few books, then the whole thing is okay. Then that was worth it. Imagine. But Krishna was all along preparing something. So when we accept the order, of course, with all due diligence, discrimination, and intelligence, we accept the order. Once having accepted, then no more question. I followed the order of my spiritual master blindly, having full faith that my spiritual master and Krishna will lead me where they want me to be, who they want me to meet, what they want me to do, and what will be the ultimate outcome. In success or failure, honor and dishonor, anything, it doesn't matter. The order of my spiritual master is the very sustenance of my life, and it is the very meaning of reality. It is the absolute truth. And it is universally beneficial for everyone. One who actually can get the association of a pure devotee, cent per cent, without any ulterior motive, serving the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the most fortunate person. Go forth and make people fortunate, Srila Prabhupada said. I have created your good fortune, now create good fortune for others. There's a wonderful book titled of Gaur Govinda Maharaj, When Good Fortune Arises. He was preparing something I could not see, We shouldn't be, like, we have to be shresters, not praesters. Where is it? Where's the result? I want it now. There's no result. It's not working. I don't want to do this. I have no faith. I lose my enthusiasm. He was preparing something all along that I could not see. And he brought you to me one by one, sincere American boys and girls, to be trained up for doing the work of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now I can see that it is a miracle. Krishna is the supreme miracle man. Otherwise, your city of New York, just think of it. One single old man with only a few books to sell for barely getting eatables? How he can survive? What to speak of introducing a God-conscious movement? I'll add the word worldwide God-conscious movement by saving the humankind. That is Krishna's miracle. Now I can see it. Hope this meets you in good health. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, one who is true to the service of Lord Nityananda Prabhu can excel even the service of Lord Nityananda Prabhu by the grace and blessing of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu saved Jai and Vijay, but one true to the service of Lord Nityananda can save hundreds and thousands of Jagais and Madhais. Similarly, anyone who is ordered by the Lord to perform some action in this material world, especially preaching his glories, cannot be counteracted by anyone or anything. The will of the Lord is executed under all circumstances. They are already put to death by my arrangement. I want you to fight the battle and get the credit. I want you to be glorified. So that is our choice. Lord Chaitanya's movement will triumph. We should simply dedicate our entire life. There's a certain degree of analyzation, but if it gets to the point where Maya tricks us into thinking that, it can't be done, and we lose enthusiasm, and we don't actually do the work that we're supposed to, then we're fools. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 11, verse 99. Anyone who worships Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by congregational chanting should be understood to be very intelligent. One who does not do so must be considered a victim of this age and bereft of all intelligence. Rascals propose that anyone can invent his own religious process, and this proposition is condemned herein. If one actually wants to become religious, he must take up the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So, as we were saying earlier, this Kali Yuga is very, very complicated. We're all in a very, very precarious and weakened and embarrassed position. So Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna, understanding our situation, has not only given us the easiest thing, but he's given us the most powerful thing. The sages wish all good luck for this age of Kali Yuga, because simply by chanting Hare Krishna, one can achieve and attain the highest destination. Golokera Premadana Harinam Sankirtan. Final instructions to Maharaj Parikshit. Of course, that was chapter 4 of the 12th canto, but just previously in the Bhumi Gita, the chapter concludes, verse 52, Kaler dosa nade rajan, hasti eka mahadgunad, kirtanad eva krishnasya, mukta sangha param brajet. My dear Maharaj Parikshit, although this Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is one good quality, just one, that simply by chanting Hare Krishna, one can counteract everything bad, and param brajet, param braja, achieve Goloka Vrindavan Dham, the supreme destination. So this is the order of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is his desire, and it comes down in disciplic succession. Disciplic succession, those who have heard and lent their whole heart, their open heart, and accepted this as their life and soul, they are the proper representative of this order in disciplic succession. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he accepted the order. He accepted from the heart of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta to his heart. His connection to his spiritual master was accomplished on that night in Uttadangi Junction, Calcutta, 100 years ago, even though formally he was seemingly initiated 11 years later, or 10 years later, 1930, I think 1933, right? Allahabad. And also, the present situation, the world situation, is always something, even during Prabhupada's time, will it be World War III? And devotees would try to get Prabhupada to say, and he said it's inevitable, and then it didn't happen. And Prabhupada, you said, Krishna changed his mind. There is an invisible cooperation between the Lord, the demigods, and the devotees on this planet. Devotional service is so powerful. Prabhupada's prayer, I wish that you may deliver them. And such a personality, such a devotee as Srila Prabhupada, and he showed his caliber by how much he sacrificed, how much he tolerated, how much he put up with to accomplish this mission. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, influenced by the merciful devotee's attempt to let me try. To deliver fallen souls, enlightens the people in general from within by his causeless mercy. I wish that you may deliver them. Tayor asurayor adya tejasa yamayor hiba akshiptam teja ektar hi bhagavam stad viditsati. It is the prowess of these twin asuras, demons, that has disturbed you, for it has minimized your power. There is no remedy within my power, however, for it is the Lord himself who desires to do all this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma.